Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Whenever I was making those videos on the updates coming from the Ukrainian front, I was showing the situation in Avdiivka, the same as it was the Bakhmut, which is, it gets pushed back, the Ukrainian army. The Ukrainian army hides in the town, in the city, and the Russians go around it, and then eventually they will encircle it, and they will cut off the Ukrainians' supply lines, and they will just let them die, and they will come out like this, with this shirt out or with their dirty underwear. So this is exactly what not only the Ukrainians are saying, but also the British intelligence. So let's see what the tactical situation is in Avdiivka. So here is an article from Ukrainska Pravda, and they just shows you the details. Is Avdiivka right here, and how the Russians encircle it slowly. So the title is Avdiivka may become second Bakhmut in near future. Ukraine's defense forces say that. So it's obvious what's going on here, right? Avdiivka right here, and these guys are going forward, and then eventually they're gonna encircle it, and probably they don't even have to fight these guys because they will be dying over there without supplies. Now we have this map that shows the whole the macro situation of the front, and we have here Avdiivka right here, and we have here Artemovsk, which is Bakhmut. Remember here? The same as the second Bakhmut. Yes, I've been talking about this, and the reality is that's accurate. See, Bakhmut is the same thing. They're advancing until these things will cut off the supply lines for Bakhmut. Artemovsk is Bakhmut's Russian name. So we go back to Avdiivka, which the Russians call it Avdiivka. The same thing. Come over here, boom. Let's see what the Russians are saying. Yesterday, fighting is taking place on the outskirts of the city. So let's go back. This is, if you go here, that's Vuhledar, Uhledar, Marinka. And here it seems to be a bigger encirclement. If they are able to do this, these guys they don't need to do anything with this too. Just go like this, if they could. So let's go back to the Ukrainian article, where they show the same thing. Russian invaders are trying to surround Avdiivka in Donetsk Oblast in the near future. The situation there may become similar to that in Bakhmut. You think? The source is Oleksiy Dmitrashkivsky. Hey, Skivsky. Polish? Spokesman for the Joint Press Office of the Armed Forces of the Tavria Front, Ukraine's south, on air during the National Joint 24/7 newscast. Quote, the enemy is now constantly trying to encircle Avdiivka. I agree with my colleagues from the UK. I told you, yeah, of course you do. You wouldn't dare not to agree with them, that Avdiivka may become the second Bakhmut in the near future. This is true. However, I want to say that all is not so well in the Russian units attacking on this front. No, it's not. Over the past day, the enemy has lost about 3 companies of personnel on this front. They keep telling us about how many troops the Russians lost, as if there's a problem for the Russians. And I will explain why it's not a problem. I mean, not a big problem as they try to focus on. They try to focus on it so much, I will tell you. According to him, the assaults on Avdiivka are typical and predictable. Yeah, but you can't do it because they overwhelm you. The Russian forces attack from the same forest plantings. In the last 3 days, the occupiers have been using the last reserves they have. That means they're done. Okay, good to know. Yeah, okay. And we've been hearing that the Russians were losing since they started the invasion, and you just have to kind of look over this and you tell me. Well, they're not there, they're blah, 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 blah. Well, are they losing? Maybe they're not advancing probably the way they thought they would, but they didn't expect all the weasels in the West to fight them here. They thought they're going to fight Ukraine one-on-one. They didn't expect everybody else to jump from the, 30 countries west of Ukraine. So yeah, that was plan B. And now is this plan B? Background: the UK Ministry of Defense reported on 20th of March, today, that the situation in Avdiivka, Donetsk Oblast, is tactically similar to what is happening in Bakhmut. So I have this one, this comes from Ukrinform, the same Monday, 20th, and it's the same thing. The situation in Avdiivka, Donetsk region is tactically similar to what is happening in Bakhmut. The UK Defense Ministry said this in its latest intelligence update published on Twitter. Well, I think that's accurate. Now let's go back to what we do best. So, I don't know if you guys fought in competitions in real life. I'm talking about physical fight. If you did, I don't know if in reality you could use this, unless you know the things are so clear. When you are, let's say, start a fight or you fight, you realize by the first few contacts what the level is between you and your opponent, or opponents, depends how many you fight. By the way they move, by the way their tactics are, by the way they so on. And then you realize the level, and you either accept this, or you just start saying, well, this is what I'm gonna do to you. I don't know if you talk while you fight, but sometimes you can. And you tell the guy, I'm gonna do this to you. So you tell him basically that you're gonna kick him in the head. So that means right here, or right here, or right here, that's right here, this level. So if someone tells you I'm gonna kick you in the head, all right, that means I'm gonna use my leg to kick you over there, and you still kick him in the head, and he can't do anything about it, the other person should just say, go home. Say, okay, man, because I told you where, and if I'm still able to do it, it's bad. That means I'm so good and you're so weak, or you're so good but I'm better. Or then vice versa. Okay, if someone tells you I'm going to poke you in the eye, and say, yeah, okay, how are you going to poke me? And you get poked in the eye, and say, what the, you know what I mean? So the same here. The Russians, the problem is this: they know what the Russians are doing, but they can't stop it. That tells you what? These guys are stronger than these guys. Those guys, actually, not these guys, because it's not Russia against Ukraine here. It's Russia against everybody else, using the Ukrainian nation to be decapitated. And don't care. Once Ukraine will remain without its nation, they will bring the Poles, they will bring the Romanians, they will bring someone else. They're going to push them, like this, pam, 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 pam. And then, like in the movies, I don't know if you saw, let's say, movies with Bruce Lee or other actors, when they, they go and fight everybody, and when they go over there, they push their students to fight you first, thinking that they don't have to get dusty. And after Bruce Lee kicks everybody's butt, it's one-on-one. So that's what is going on right now. You have Bruce Lee fighting these little Ukrainians, Poles, Romanians, Czechs, Slovaks, and then after that you get to what? To the other guy who's what? The United States of America. Why? Because the United States of America is not courageous enough to say, you know what, you weasels go here. All right, man, let's do it. Let's settle scores. That would be in the ancient times, Remember? One good example of that was, and I like that one, I didn't like the movie, but it was a good representation. If you watch the movie Troy with, what's his name, that actor? Jesus Christ. Anyway, the last Troy that came out, unbelievable. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt played Achilles, semi-god, demigod, half-god, hero of the antiquity. And he was brought forward. There were two armies facing each other, and they say, okay, how about we don't kill one another? How come we bring our champion, you bring your champion? Okay, and then these guys bring a big, tall guy, and these guys bring Achilles. And Achilles kicks that guy's butt with one, sword right here. Great, fantastic. And then what happened after that? They keep their word. That's very important to remember your civilization from time to time. But hey, because right now it would be, okay, we lost. We forget about our understanding. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. So anyway, you see, that's the way it is. Right now, no, these guys are not bringing in their champion. They push everybody else in front. Fight for me. Go. Maybe he's dying. Hey, he's coming closer. Jesus Christ. Oh, we gotta fight. I got some money for you. Maybe I can buy you. Bang. Anyway, so here it is with Bakhmut. They know, and then they're happy when they, let's say, you fight, let's say, a football game, soccer game. It's 10-0 for the opposite team, and you succeed in, well, I don't know, doing a little trick, and you laugh, and you like you won the game. But the purpose is to win the game, not to do a little trick, and you're like, I don't know, if you played soccer, you do a trick, you kick the ball in between your opponent's legs, and everybody's like, embarrassed. You embarrassed one player, but you embarrassed all your team, because after all, the goal is winning the game, which you're definitely losing. So in Bakhmut, they know now what's going on, and they could have seen it in Mariupol, but they didn't got it. Now they see it here happening. I think they could have seen it in Syria, what the Russians did with, how they call those guys, ISIS. Remember, they do the same thing with those guys. Encircle them, and then that's it. The same here, they did it here in Bakhmut. They will do the same thing in Avdiivka, probably in Marinka and Vuhledar, the same thing, if they don't do an encirclement, a bigger one, like they did in, the Soviets did in Stalingrad in the Second World War. So that's embarrassing. You know the guy is coming and you can't stop him. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What options you have? Fight until you die? Or maybe you're not going to, fight until you die. Maybe you're going to win, but it seems like you can't change. And what they're saying, well, they're dying. That's a lot of them dying. That's like the trick, You kick the ball between the guy's legs, and you're like, yeah, they're dying. Yeah, they're dying. And remember what they did in the Second World War? And they're not the Soviets. You remember? They everybody, sheer power and the production. And they overwhelmed the Germans because of energy. That's what happened. Energy. You don't have power to build stuff and to operate stuff. Otherwise, the Germans probably would have been going down further than they did. It was not, the winter. The winter worked both ways. Okay, don't tell me, the Soviets, I don't want to say Russians because they were not only Russians. The Soviets were more prepared for winter. Okay, well, the Germans proved certain kind of durability by being Germans. How do you think they got so strong? Just by staying home and waiting for the coconut to fall on their lap and then bang and open it. Okay, I'm gonna sleep a little bit. Okay, what are you doing, baby doll? Yeah, not like that, So, unfortunately, those generations are gone. We have now people who are. I think I'm not that anymore. We have this population right now. Some of it, a small minority, but the mass media makes it as being majority. No, it's going to be a fad. It passes. Why? Because you have nature. Nature it is as it is, It's not going to change its laws because some people think that, I pretend. Well, you can. That's what's going to be. You pretend. Nature will hit you hard. But it's okay. It's going to go away because you're going to see the negative consequences of that. And if countries and nations and civilization will fall, it's okay. Some other ones will get up, and I'm not certain that it's going to be a positive thing. Why? Look at the civilizations and look how far they got. I think we got here the furthest. But it's okay, and I will leave it there. So yes, Bakhmut, the same thing here in Avdiivka. They know it, they can't stop it. Maybe. I read an article saying that the Russians are preparing to start an invasion in Zaporozhye Oblast. I don't know what's going to happen over there, but I'm definitely going to let you know. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.